Join us today on Beyond the Lair, where we have a conversation with Tait, the tourism manager for Klahoose Wilderness Resort, voted one of the world's best hotels in 2023. This is an Indigenous-owned off-the-grid resort that provides authentic experiences involving culture, nature, and wildlife. And if you watch the upcoming Season 2 Bears Lair series on APTN, you will have a chance at winning a trip for 4 to this beautiful resort. Stay tuned. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Beyond the Lair. I'm Gina Jackson Montgomery. My traditional name is Cetacia, and I'm a proud member of the Seashell Nation. I would like to introduce to you my co-host.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dean Montgomery. I'm Cree Métis from Saskatchewan, and welcome to our show today. We're really excited for you to meet Chris.
We are excited today to talk about an amazing resort, and we have a huge connection to this resort, which we're going to get into a little bit later. Our guest today is Chris Tait. He is the tourism manager for the Klahoose Wilderness Resort, and that is located just around my territory in Seashell. And he is going to talk today about the resort. The Klahoose Wilderness Resort is located in Humphrey Channel, just north of Desolation Sound Provincial Park Marine Park, the Sunshine Coast, and just south of Yuckwamon, Toba Inland in BC. This resort is within the territory of the Klahoose First Nation in proximity of the Homlaka, Kwakiutl, and the Tla'amin nations. This resort is off-grid and no road access, which makes it really, really exciting. And we're going to hear all about it. But first of all, let's meet you, Chris. I know that you've got a plethora of experience. You've got about 30 years experience. So we'd love to hear about you and how you came across working with such a great initiative.
Yeah, thanks. It's a privilege to be part of Klahoose Wilderness Resort, and it's been a journey. I've been with Klahoose First Nation and Klahoose Wilderness Resort for 4 years. But I mean, you said it, 30 years in tourism. So, going back to my father's business was where I started. I was born in Quebec City, grew up in Montreal, and then my family moved to Yellowknife when I was a young child. And my father started Northern Lights viewing in Yellowknife as a tourism business. He was the first in Canada to do Northern Lights viewing. And I grew up in that business. So I grew up with authentic experiences. Standing outside and watching the Northern Lights it doesn't get much more authentic than that. But I also grew up with a lot of Indigenous friends and people. One of the last residential schools was attached to my high school in Canada. And I drove my snowmobile to school with them, and we locked our snowmobiles up with a chain at the door of our high school. So I just grew up, small town Canada, grew up in a tourism business, and then I ended up in the Vancouver area here and worked in tourism ever since.
Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about the resort, the history of it, and how it came to be owned by the nation?
Absolutely. Yeah. It was originally constructed back in 2009 and there was different owners, and it was really a fishing lodge. Some people were up there and going up there and fishing. The fishing's still amazing there. I started with the business 7 years ago. So it was owned by another business, and we started ecotourism with a boat going into what used to be called Homefray Lodge, which is just the name of the channel. Homefray was some Hudson's Bay explorer, a guy who went up there. They named the channel after this guy. And the lodge was named after Homefray. And I started working with the Klahoose First Nation at that time because they had grizzly bear viewing. They started in 2016 to offer grizzly bear viewing tours in Toba Inlet or Yuckwamon, which is just north of the lodge. And I started bringing our guests from the lodge to view the grizzly bears. And that's when it started. And then, of course, we had this pandemic that happened. So I lost my job in tourism, like a lot of tourism people did. But luckily, the Klahoose First Nation bought the lodge. So in 2021, the Klahoose First Nation, the lodge was for sale, and they bought it. They hired me. They said, "Hey, Chris, let's, we want you to help with our grizzly bear tours." And I said, "Great." I didn't actually know they had the lodge purchased yet. They didn't tell me. And I said, I'd be happy to help you promote the grizzly bear tours because they continue to operate during COVID. Those are day tours from Campbell River. And on my first day of work, they said, "Well, we actually just bought the lodge. What do you want to do with it?" And I was like, okay, this is super exciting because now I have a lodge where we can really develop much more than just a day trip visitor to actually someone who could come and stay for a 3 or 4 night and experience the lodge. And then we went from there.
Great. What is the capacity of the lodge? How many folks can you have there at one time? And what do you do while you're there?
Yeah. Well, it's just 7 rooms. So it's very small. We have 3 cabins and then we have 4 lodge rooms. So the average capacity is about 14 guests. Maybe up to 18 if we take all of our guests will arrive by boat usually or seaplane. So our whole experience is all inclusive. That includes all your guided tours, all your meals. And it's Klahoose Wilderness Resort. So we renamed the lodge. It used to be called Humphrey Lodge. We renamed it Klahoose for the people. It's 100% owned by the Klahoose First Nation. Wilderness, because we're in the wilderness. It's off grid and takes some time to get there. We're about an hour from Lund by boat. And then resort, we wanted it to be a little bit more than a lodge where you could just visit for an activity like a fishing lodge or even a bear viewing lodge. There's lots of great bear viewing lodges here in British Columbia. But we wanted more out of a lodge. We want it to be a resort. So that means, yes, we have a wood fire sauna and you have a little bar and you have all-inclusive meals that are delicious. But it's Indigenous owned by the Klahoose First Nations. So we really wanted it to showcase Indigenous people and the people that live there. We wanted the people that live there to welcome the guests to their home. And that's what really sets it apart. You can't get anything more authentic than Indigenous tourism in Canada, in the world. So now visitors are going to be able to come to the Klahoose First Nation territory, stay at this beautiful lodge, but be welcomed by the people that are there. And that's probably what sets it apart from just a lodge.
Yeah, it sounds it's a real cultural experience. I mean, I had seen that you have whale watching, right? And I think there's orca and there's humpbacks, right? And you have grizzly bears and all these majestical creatures that are so important to the Indigenous, way of life and culture and history. So, and what's the lodge like that? Do you incorporate that into everything that you do? And again, is there anything that with the staff that you have that are teaching people?
Yeah. The lodge is open seasonally, so we're May to October. So every season's a little bit different. Right now, we're getting ready to open on May 9th for the start of our spring season. In the springtime, it's beautiful in Desolation Sound. So the waterfalls are coming off, the snow melt. It's green, like bright green everywhere. Toba Inlet is a glacier fed, so it's blue water. So when guests come in the springtime, they're going to see the humpback whales. The humpback whales will be returning at this time of year. If you haven't heard about the humpbacks in the Campbell River and North Salish Sea area, they've come back. So they were almost to extinction, back in the 60s when whaling stopped. Even 10 years ago, there was maybe 10 whales. We have over 400 humpback whales just in this area now.
Wow.
That are in the Northern Salish Sea that weren't there 10 years ago. And even the last 7 years that I've been involved with this business, we see more and more humpbacks. So you're going to see humpback whales when you visit us. So yes, the whale watching tours are included. Guests will come. The first night is a traditional welcome. So again, being welcomed by people this is their home. When you come around the corner at this off-grid resort, you come around this beautiful point, you get off that boat and, traditional protocol of coming ashore. You're going to get welcomed to shore by drum and song. There's a Klahoose welcome song that was gifted to the Klahoose Nation by the Slalhaman Nation. All our staff will come out and drum and sing that song. So our staff are Klahoose members, Slalhaman members, and non-Indigenous, all working there. But you're going to get welcomed with a song surrounded by the rainforest and mountains and ocean of Desolation Sound. That just sets the tone for something really special. The next day, you're going to go off and go whale watching and look at all the other marine life like sea lions and dolphins and orca. But you're going to be guided by an Indigenous person, and the Indigenous-led tours is really what sets it apart and makes it different. And you're going to be on that boat with those guides and those cultural interpreters, hearing stories, their own personal stories, and just really connecting you to the place that you're at.
It just sounds amazing. I was wondering with what an entrepreneurial venture that the nation took on. Do you know how that came to be and when they call you? And can you talk a little bit about that? And that's a big decision for a nation to invest in.
Yeah. Well, I think they had started doing the grizzly bear tours already. They had sort of, done what the Homolko, sister nation of the Klahoose Nation, had started in Butte Inlet. So the Homolko Nation started grizzly bear viewing tours. And then the Klahoose were like, well, we have grizzly bear tours too in Toba. It's the same bears, two different inlets, Butte and Toba. Toba Inlet, by the way, is the most southern range of grizzly bears, coastal bears in North America, really. So they'd sort of dabbled in tourism, but they really found when they went out into market and trying to, well, how do we sell these tours is we can't tell our story just by bringing people in for a few hours and taking them on a grizzly bear tours. We can't tell the story the way we really want to. So when the lodge was for sale, it's like, okay, now's an opportunity that we can actually bring people in for 4 or 5 days and kind of control the narrative. The Klahoose First Nation, we have a economic development. That's who I work for. It's Quatham-Wagas. Economic development has forestry, aquaculture, the grizzly bear viewing, and then Klahoose Wilderness Resort. So they bought the resort because of the location. It's right in the middle of the Klahoose First Nation territory, which sort of is between Cortez Island, the Northern Gulf Islands, and Toba Inlet to the north. It's right in the middle. So this lodge was just for sale, beautiful cedar timber lodge. And this is just too good an opportunity to pass up. They went, and we can develop tourism and just control the narrative for tourism in that whole region by now they operate and we bring in the people, we tell our story, how we want it to be told. Desolation Sound is known by boaters around the world as one of the best boating destinations. But those are people just coming in. They're just as beautiful. They come in their own boats usually, or maybe kayaking on their own. There's a few companies that go in there, but there wasn't anyone operating tours. So we were really the first. But of course, the Klahoose First Nation, it's their home. So
it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Such an interesting experience. I know that Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada really promotes Indigenous business and experiences and resorts. What is your target market? What do you find that who are you reaching out to? Is it other Indigenous people or communities? Is it non-Indigenous people? Are you looking at an international market? Where are you seeing your biggest target market?
Yeah. I look at it like I'm looking for people that are traveling with intention, people that are traveling and want to experience Indigenous tourism. Because you can go all over the world and visit, have amazing wildlife viewing experiences, kayaking experiences. You can go whale watching out of Vancouver, Victoria. But I look for people that are traveling with intention to visit an Indigenous business and want to be guided by local people. So from there, we have Canadians, amazingly, especially out of COVID. We opened right in the middle of COVID, which was really hard. But we did, and Canadians came because, they just want to, they either want to just come to a place to relax, but usually they're traveling because they learn that we're Indigenous, they learn that we're sustainable, those kind of things. People are looking for sustainability in Indigenous businesses. And it's not always easy to find. So the target market certainly would be Canadians, and anyone from the United States, but globally, of course, Europeans, that's what they're looking for. They want to come to Canada and see whales and bears, but they also want Indigenous experiences. And we have that all across Canada. I mean, Canada is really one of the best places for that in the world. But it's not always hard to find. Like, do you want to go to a lodge, or do you want to maybe have another experience in Alberta or in a different part in Quebec or something? It's hard to find that. So I work with Tait really closely, connecting with international tour companies from the UK, Germany, the Netherlands, all over Europe, Australia. But direct consumers, we just do our marketing on, using the internet and Google and social media to reach those people. I was up there last summer and we had a couple from Washington State and he was a doctor and she was a nurse. And I said, why did you come? And they said, well, we Googled sustainable resort. And then we found out you're Indigenous sustainable resort. And we said, we have to go. And those are so traveling with that intention, people, Indigenous tourism does that. So, we do our marketing to, but that's essentially they want to come to, if they just want to come and maybe go fishing or something, this is probably not the place for them. But if they want to come and, go on a eco tour to watch grizzly bears with an Indigenous person, and then return back at night and have a nice meal. I mean, because we're off grid, it's not inexpensive to come stay with us. The package is probably about $5,000 for a couple to come stay with us for a 4-day stay. But that includes all of your guided tours, all of your meals, all of the experiences. We do cultural evenings with our Indigenous cultural interpreters. It's very organic and it's very small. There's only 7 rooms. So with just those 14 guests, it's a pretty intimate experience. Starting with that first welcome with the drums to the time they leave. Usually guests are leaving our dock with tears in their eyes because they've got to know those staff so well. They've had a meaningful experience. So that's our market. I mean, usually it has to be a higher income just because we're so remote. The price point is higher. It has to be, but usually just looking for those guests that just want to travel with that intention of visiting an Indigenous business. And I ask all of our guests, whether they're from New York City or Vancouver, why did you choose us? And it's because of the sustainability and the Indigenous owned.
And I'm hoping it's our favorite part of vacation is tell us about the food.
The food, well, it's all inclusive. So just like an all-inclusive resort in Mexico, you can go there and just chill out. And you don't have to worry about what am I going to eat next and what time's meal. That's the best thing about it. So we design the entire package or stay around just making it really easy just to slow down and relax. And then you have your meals. We have a set menu. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, beer and wine's included with your dinner. And the chef, we're still looking to try to develop Indigenous cuisine. That's probably one of the big pieces we're missing right now. But it's really hard. If there's any Indigenous chefs listening and want to come work for us, let me know, because it's really hard to find chefs and it's really hard to find Indigenous chefs. So right now our food's just really local, delicious, like a nice salmon one night. And Indigenous food is all about ingredients and storytelling. And we're working towards that. So now you can just expect really delicious food and prepared for you. When you come back after that tour, we're going to have it all ready for you and you just sit down and enjoy.
Oh, amazing.
That's amazing. I do have some chefs for you, FYI.
Yes.
And if there's any chefs or any chefs or audience that are listening today, please contact Chris, and we'll get some contact information at the end. I know how important it is to have that experience. This isn't just for couples or for adults, to be able to bring your children to experience not only that Indigenous experience, but also to see the wildlife that the youth today aren't seeing. Before, when we were back in the day when we were younger, to be able to go see a whale or an orca, we would have to go to an aquarium. And of course, that doesn't happen anymore. The Vancouver Aquarium doesn't have the orcas anymore, that kind of sea life to see. And for people that don't know anything about humpback whales or orcas or grizzly bears for that matter, what is the safety factor? Because I know grizzlies are grizzlies, but in respect, should you be afraid when you're in the water? What is their nature? I'm sure people want to know about the wildlife.
Yeah, well, you sort of touched on multi-generational, and we have lots of families with children, the parents and grandparents coming. We have 2-bedroom cabins that can fit the whole family. So that's a big attraction, and people want to experience these special places as a whole family like this. And everything we do is easy. So it's dock to dock to dock. So we're not taking people on big adventures in zodiacs where you jump in and out of a boat. And some bear viewing experiences are like that, where you have to jump off on shore and maybe it's slippery and you're walking. So we leave Lund Dock, we come to our dock. When we go grizzly bear viewing in Toba Inlet by dock, we have 2 beautiful, comfortable boats, 12 passenger safe boats that are covered, they're heated. So it doesn't matter if it's raining or if it's hot and sunny, you can go inside or you can sit outside. So everything we do is really easy, but we don't see any other people hardly. I mean, we're in remote British Columbia ocean waters. It's calm waters. The Desolation Sound is all sheltered waters. So when you're going on that boat, you're generally just cruising along on the nice, calm, smooth water. And there's wildlife everywhere. You talk about orcas and humpback whales and grizzly bears, but we have guests coming from all over the world. So just seeing an eagle or a harbor seal is pretty cool. We see harbor seals all the time, even around, the cities of Vancouver and Victoria. But we have the seals come up on our dock in the morning, and you can wake up and at sunrise, they'll all be sitting there, and we have to shoo them off the dock because they like to sit on our kayaks and things. But just to see a seal or an eagle, these are in the wild. And yes, of course, if you get to see orca whales or humpback whales in the wild, we have black bears in the spring that are all over the shores right now at this time of year. And so we sometimes, if we live here in British Columbia, we forget how amazing this place is. And we have a lot of people live in the cities and they don't get to see bald eagles. So even just that is pretty special.
You think about, pre-contact, what it was like living there for the Indigenous people. Like, how amazing was that? Like, having that spectacular. What's the coolest thing you've seen in a day? Tell us about your.
Every time I see something really different. Last time I was up there, we had a pod of about 100 dolphins just surround our boat. Pacific white-sided dolphins, and that was just incredible. And they followed our boat around as we drove around, and but I've had orcas come right up to our boat, that's pretty rare. We don't always see orcas, and they get curious and come to the boat. So, and then the grizzly bears in Toba Inlet, when you get to see them eating salmon and you can just hear them crunching on the salmon. I mean, I have so many experiences. I'm really privileged that I get to experience them too. But again, when you see people leaving with tears in their eyes, it's not because they saw that grizzly bear or that cool orca or whatever. It's because of the staff and the Indigenous component. They get to share and sit down and maybe make a cedar rose out of some cedar bark one night. But it's human interaction. That's what makes it really special. That human interaction between the guests and our staff it really makes it special. And we have all these amazing wildlife to see, and we get to experience that, but it's actually the human interaction that happens. And it's not just the visitors that benefit from that, it's our own staff. I mean, we have staff that they go back to the community and they're sharing their experience and they're even asking, from their families and their elders and things, what can I share? Because I really want to share. Everyone's really interested in our culture and our people. And they're sometimes surprised by that. They don't think it's interesting, but people are really interested in it. And it's just that having that human connection, sets it apart, really.
Yeah, great. And you mentioned the staff a few times now. And so what is it like? Is there your inclusion rate? Is it how many members work there of local communities and non-Indigenous? What's that like?
Yeah, we were lucky. When we had the grizzly bear viewing guides already that were there. So some of them came over to work at the resort. I would say about 80% are Indigenous staff, and then we have non-Indigenous staff working there as well. Some of our skippers are non-Indigenous, our chefs not Indigenous right now. But all of our tours are led by Indigenous staff, and Klahoose First Nation, somebody like Randy Louie has been with us since day one, and he's a Klahoose First Nation member. Kenny Hainus, they're cultural interpreters, so they're also grizzly bear guides. But we call them cultural interpreters, but they're the ones doing the singing, drumming, maybe training some of the other youth that we have coming out to come experience it as well. I see Kenny on the dock with Coral. Coral's in her 20s, and Kenny's a Klahoose elder, and I see her watching Kenny and learning some of the songs that he knows. And so again, the cultural interpreters, they're all Indigenous from either the Klahoose Nation, we have Slahaman Nation as well as Sister Nation and Homolko, and some other non-Indigenous from the BC Coast Salish people. Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
We are really excited. So besides the tours, which is amazing, and the staff connection, is there some free time where the families can enjoy? Because I mean, if you're in the water and there's on the boat tours, but even going for walks and there's grizzlies around, like what kind of family time can you spend?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a bit of a balance because we have things that are included, so you don't have to worry about, the first day we go off on a boat tour and we go see waterfalls and the whales and things like that. But then when you get back, that's about a 4-hour tour. So in the afternoon, you get to just hang out at the resort, and we have hiking trails that you can do on your own. We have some old growth forests that we have behind the lodge that you can go hike to. We have a beautiful wood fire sauna, so you can go sit in the sauna. That's great in the evening, and you can swim in the ocean. Desolation Sound has some of the warmest waters north of Mexico. So what it means is you can swim there. I've been there in the summer, and you can swim for like an hour in the water and not feel cold. So swimming, we have kayaks, we have paddle boards that you can just do on your own. In the evening, we're going to do a cultural sharing time where it's usually we're either doing cedar roses, or the last night we do a cedar brushing off ceremony where we're using cedar boughs to brush people off. And that's a very meaningful kind of experience. But those are all it's very organic. Everything we do is just very casual and relaxed. A lot of times guests will just sit on our balcony and just watch the wildlife right in front of the ocean and the sun setting and things. So there's lots of downtime just to sit and read a book if that's what you want to do, or if you want to be active, you can go hike up the mountain to the old growth forest and spend up to 2 hours in the old growth forest if that's what you like. So something for everyone. So that's why it's good for multi-generational, or if you're interested in bird watching, or whatever it is, or if you just want to sit and have a glass of wine on the deck and watch the sunset, that's okay too. So it's some structured things and then lots of free time.
Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about how Indigenous Tourism Association Canada has helped the resort and promotion of it?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I work with Indigenous Tourism ITAC a lot, because they're really our voice, especially globally. They go out into the world and help us market the resort by, for example, maybe telling a media at a media event about this cool new resort in British Columbia. And I'll actually give you an example of how it all kind of works, because media is just one example of how I work with ITAC, and they support us. But they send a travel writer to us. The travel writer writes something in a magazine, Travel and Leisure magazine might be one. And then that travel writer ends up recommending us as one of the top new hotels in the world, which is what we got last year in 2023. And that was exciting because it was tons of media. So that's how I work with ITAC. But, the reason we won we didn't win, we were just recognized as one of the top new hotels in the world by a Fire magazine, was because of the Indigenous experience that travel writer had. So she had a brushing off ceremony, and she talked about some of the staff members, Randy Louie and things. So that's how it all works together, having a really authentic experience at the lodge, and then promoting it and having ITAC as promoting Indigenous tourism right across Canada and just in promoting our business really helps just elevate us because we're very small. We're only a 7-room lodge. There's only so much marketing we can do, and as a new business, nobody knew we existed. So yeah, there's support through media. Travel trade. I was also with ITAC, and we went to the German. There was a trade show in Germany. We went to the embassy. It was the largest group of Indigenous people ever at the Canadian embassy in Germany, in Berlin, ever. They put that event on. They did an amazing job. They invited our business, Klahoose Wilderness Resort, and I was there with some other Indigenous businesses, but they also invited chefs and some artists. They invited media, they invited travel trade. So just elevating, because people in Germany are craving this kind of experience, but they don't know what it is. It's like, what is Indigenous tourism? So Indigenous tourism is out there sort of saying, this is what it is. Here's one. They're all different, but here's Klahoose Wilderness Resort, where you can go bear viewing and whale watching, have Indigenous-led tours. But they help elevate our voice a way we can't. I could never spend money on market in Europe. So they just expand on our voice and the marketing we're already doing. So it's media and marketing relationship and yeah.
That's fantastic. And part of the joy of travel is meeting new people from different places. So yeah, I know Germans have a fascination with our Indigenous culture, but where are some other people that have come from internationally?
Yeah, I mean, Germany and in Europe, it's the United Kingdom. In the UK, they're all about the bears, but it's changing now. I mean, I can put a picture of a grizzly bear on the front of my brochure or website and sell it, and it will sell out. So the bears, but now it's just changing them to, well, now I want to see bears, but now I want to do it with an Indigenous person and go on a tour, and they want that. They just don't know it kind of exists yet. So that's some of our markets are different. Germans do want the Indigenous business sort of at the forefront, but they also don't know what it is. They think maybe it's a powwow in Alberta or something, and that's the experience. Or everyone's walking around in ceremonial dress or something, and of course that's not the way it works. So just training and teaching them what's available in tourism. And I say training because they have to train. Tour companies need to train their staff, the frontline staff, to be able to promote it properly. And so there's a big gap. Every market's a bit different. Germany, the United States, the United Kingdom, they all have a different level of knowledge about Indigenous people. I mean, I've had parents from families in California call me and say, I want to book because my kids were at school and they were learning about Native American history and we don't know anything about this, but they want to come. So I'm going to bring my kids to experience this. And so there's a whole different level of knowledge. Canadians, of course, with reconciliation and everything that's been happening in Canada, they know all about it and it's at the forefront. So as Canadians, we have to remember that all around the world, it's very different, the knowledge of what Indigenous experience is, who Indigenous people are, some of the issues or what. But I want to go on vacation. So what can I do that would be enjoyable? And what can I have, or where can I bring my family?
Yeah, I mean, ITAC is a fantastic organization. They do a great job.
Which brings us to a very, very exciting partnership that we've developed. So Keith Henry, who has been a guest on our podcast, has and ITAC has developed a partnership with the Bears Lair. So Keith Henry was on our finale for the Bears Lair, which is coming up June 4th, Bears Lair Season 2. But we also developed a partnership that's going to make our viewers a very, very exciting opportunity. And ITAC has partnered with you, and you have partnered with us. And we are going to be giving away a $20,000 value trip. And that is to the viewers that watch every episode starting June 4th on APTN. Check your listings, whether it's Pacific time or Mountain time or Central time or Eastern time or wherever you are. But it's going to give our viewers airfare, thanks to Air Canada, ITAC has arranged this through you and really promoted and elevated you up. And as you said, in 2023 got the award for one of the most exciting hotels in the world. So this is a very exciting opportunity. And so this is a $20,000 value vacation, and I'm dying to go. I feel like I'm going just when you're talking about it. You've done such a great job of describing this. We're going to get into all of our viewers and be promoting this, how you can watch the 9 episodes. There will be a question on each episode that you have to watch the episode, and you have 72 hours as a viewer to give the right answer. And then at the end of the series, we will be doing a draw with you, with ITAC, and the happy family for a trip for 4 will be coming to your resort. Can you describe what the winners will be getting?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the stay at the resort is a 4-day stay, and it's all inclusive as you talked about, and even airfare to get to the resort. All your meals are going to be included. You're going to have a stay in one of our cabins, little cedar cabins. The tours are included. So some of the things I've already talked about, like when you go out whale watching in Toba Inlet, we go, depending what time of year you can come, and you can contact us and ask about the different times of year. But black bear viewing and grizzly bear viewing by boat in the springtime. The springtime is my favorite right now at this time of year, personally. In the summer, it's a little warmer, so that's all about swimming and the ocean. But you're going to have a really immersive experience over those 4 days with our cultural interpreters, sitting down quietly and learning about them. You're going to go whale watching. You're going to go look for bears. And then you're going to have lots of just free time in the middle of the wilderness, with everything sort of taken care of. You've got the kayak sitting out front and paddle boards ready to go if that's what you'd like to do. And, we'll wake you up and have breakfast in the morning. It's all sort of inclusive. And you've got coffee in your room if you want. Nice comfy robes in the room. So really comfortable experience in the middle, off grid. Our whole resort runs off a clean energy system, and we have a sustainability certification. So you're gonna feel good about staying here because we're really trying to be as sustainable as possible, but more importantly, you're going to meet those indigenous staff from their home, and what better way to experience a beautiful place by kind of getting taken out by the people who live there. It's sort of like I've had it described as, being invited into somebody's home and they're just kind of showing you around. So it's very casual, very immersive, very, it's going to be memorable.
Amazing. We are so honored to have this partnership. If you want to find out more about this contest, you can get a hold of info@bearslairtv.com. And if you want to get a hold of Chris Tait or the resort, how do we do this? How does our viewers and our listeners get a hold of you?
Yeah, if they want to get a hold of me, they can email me. Just my email, ctait@klahooseresort.com. Or for the resort itself, you can go to our website, just Google klahooseresort.com and see all of our packages and experiences there. Or just follow us on social media on Instagram or TikTok or wherever you like to hang out and see lots of beautiful pictures of whales and bears and some of our staff doing, just enjoying themselves up there. And so there's really easy to get a hold of.
Yeah, I've taken a look at the brochure and the photos are spectacular. I really want to go. And the website's the same, so take a look at that for sure.
Excellent. I think we've decided on our next vacation. What a memorable experience. If you want to take your partner, if you want to take your family, if you want to learn more about Indigenous values, community, the ecosystem, and experience such a unique offering, then please go to and check out Klahoose Wilderness Resort, and we look so forward to the contest and promoting you even further. I don't believe this is the last time that we're going to be talking. I know that we'll probably do another podcast with the family that is going to win this great resort and see more of you. So thank you so much, Chris Tait, Tourism Manager, Klahoose Wilderness Resort.
Thank you. It's really, really, again, it's a privilege for me to represent Klahoose Wilderness Resort and just try to, tell the world about what we're going to share with you when visitors come to stay with us. But thank you for your time to have me here today.
Excellent. And thanks to ITAC for recommending you. All the best. We'll see you next time on the Bears Lair on Beyond the Lair. Thanks for listening to Beyond the Lair. Please follow us, download this episode, and follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok.